So, my good friend Elizabeth Clark at Advent Health University asked me if I would share my story briefly with the PT students there at Advent Health University. So, I've agreed to do that. Pretty much do it every year. I actually enjoy it to know that that our future physical therapist students are wanting to really understand and learn what a spinal cord injury looks like, and what do you do once you have a spinal cord injury, and what are the potentials, what's the possibilities, what are the limitations, and so forth. So let me just start with I first became injured on September 17th of 1982. I was a senior in high school. I was a captain gymnastics team. I was a carpenter's apprentice. I was actually really enjoying life. I thought I had a very cool life. I also thought that I was invincible, and which was one of my biggest problems. That and a little substance abuse problem that was developing already. I started using drugs in high school, freshman year in high school. I thought that I just used them socially. Didn't think that I was a burnout, but I didn't think I was a jock. So I was somewhere in between that. But man, it seems like so long ago, talking about just about 38 years ago. Matter of fact, next month in September 17th of 2020 will be 38 years since my accident that left me spinal cord injured. So, and I only, Elizabeth tells me I only got 10 or 15 minutes. So, and I'm not supposed to give you my diagnosis. I messed up the first year that she asked me to do that. So I'm going to try to watch my mouth if I already haven't blown it. But anyway, I took some videos, and hopefully Elizabeth will show some of that to you. It's my home. One of the reasons I can't be there today talking to you in class is because of COVID-19. And so I guess I'm one of those people that is considered very vulnerable to any type of respiratory infections, or even a small cold can pretty much take me out. So this is my patio out back in my yard, and you'll see more of my house later on, or before, whenever she shows it. But this is where I work out. Right behind me is, God, you ever seen those Spike Lee movies? That's exactly what it feels like. But anyway, behind me is my workout machine, and I'll show that a little bit to you later. Can't really see it right now because I'm reclined back right now, and the reason I'm reclined back right now is just to relieve some pressure off my bottom. You know, after sitting on your ass for 38 years, you have to be nice to your ass. But me, Elizabeth, I can get away without saying anything inappropriate in one of your classes. But anyway, let me get back over here. But like I said, I was 17 years old when I became injured, and my biggest problem I would say back then was thinking that I was invincible, that I could do anything. And pretty much from my freshman year, like I said, I was already starting to abuse drugs and alcohol, marijuana. By the time I was in my sophomore, junior year, I started using cocaine, tripped on acid, mescaline a few times my junior, senior year in high school. But something happened on September 17th. I really can't explain it to you other than, I've driven drunk before, from New Jersey to New York. I lived 45 minutes away from the city in Jersey. I lived in Jersey, but it was a quick ride to the city, about 45 minutes, like I said, and I've driven that intoxicated before my injury and after my injury, I hate to say. And nothing's ever happened to me. So back then, I thought that, this was a no big deal. But I didn't even go to the city then. It was a Friday night. I remember I was dating this girl, Debbie, and, we spoke on the phone, and, just, we were teenagers, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't have never admit this back when I was a teenager, but I had no clue what I was doing in the areas of sex, relationships, drugs, alcohol, even school. School was a bore to me. I didn't like school, and I think that's why I went more into carpentry, because I was more that person that could work with their hands, and didn't want to ever think with my head too much. Gave me a headache, and today I'm a totally different person. Today I live a lot in my head and not so much in my body, and I'm sure you can understand why. But as I reflect back now on 38 years, and specifically on that night, that Friday night, like I said, I was dating this girl Debbie for about a year, and you know, we spoke on the phone that night actually. As far as what I was going to do, what she was going to do. She invited me over to watch a movie or stuff like that, and I was excited. I remember I was excited because I had my car being worked on, and I really, for a guy 17 years old, my first car, had my license for about 6 months, and I bought this piece of junk. It was a 1972 Ford Maverick, and it was yellow, um, but it looked cool, Little shift, I forget the type of engine I had, but all summer long I just kept putting money into this car. And, $50 here, $100 there, transmission redone, just wasting a lot of money on a car that I shouldn't have had to. But I was a carpenter's apprentice, and I was making $300 a week, and for 17 years old back in 1982, that was a lot of money. And so yeah, so I really didn't have a care in the world, But so going back to this Friday night, got off the phone with Debbie, and I had some stuff being done on my car, so I was going to go pick up my car. My brother dropped me off, and I told him I would see him later, and got into my car. I drove it to a roller skating rink where we all hung out, enjoyed roller skating, danced while I roller skated. Yeah, it was just awesome, an awesome time in my life. And so I was at the roller skating rink. Some guys were hanging out. We were just shooting a breeze before they let us in. I also have to let you know that at that time I had a fake ID to get served. Drinking age was 18 years old. Of course, I was 17 years old, and I had a fake ID. And so I excused myself, went to a bar that I knew that served me, and bought a 6-pack of beer, put it in my car, drove back to the roller skating arena, and drank my 6 beers there with some friends, and went roller skating. And again, it was 1982. I think I was wearing a pair of Jordache jeans. Wow, disco was in. So being uncomfortable roller skating with some tight Jordache jeans was just not going to have it no more. So I went home. My mom was there in the living room, and she goes, "Wow, you're back kind of early." And it was already 11 o'clock, and my mom was already telling me I'm back kind of early. That was kind of strange again when I reflect back on it, But and I also went back out that night, She goes, "Where are you going?" And I just said, "I'm just gonna go out. I'll be back later." Being a guy and Spanish Puerto Rican family was kind of, we had to, pretty much do what we wanted to, and the girls not so much, at least not the sisters, not my sisters. They were watched very carefully who they went out with and what they did and so forth. But anyway, so I went back out, and I was just, I went to the roller skating arena, went back to see who was hanging out. Nobody was hanging out, so I was just driving around, debating if I was going to go to my girlfriend's house or what. And carpenter's apprentice, and I was on Main Street in what we call it Blackwell Street in Dover. And I was just hanging out at a red light, admiring this building that we just finished gutting and reconstructing and remodeling and so forth. I was just looking at it and said, "Wow, I did that, or part of that, and rebuilding that." I was just admiring the building. And then I had my windows down, of course. It was September, it was still cool. And I heard these girls calling, "Yo," and I think they either called my name or they were just saying, "Yo, what are you doing?" I knew one, I didn't know the other one so well. I think one was a tenant, and the other one I kind of knew. And I just went one of, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they were hanging out on their balcony, their street balcony on the side of the street, it's like on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor. And, and they said, "Come on up," and I was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, come on up." And of course, I parked my car. And, 2 very pretty girls, inviting you to come up and, drink on their balcony. Sure, why not, So that's what I did. I parked my car, I was very familiar with the area, you know. I even went up to the balcony, I think, you know, to the emergency fire stairs. And we hung out there and we're drinking some amaretto and just, you know, just having a great time. It was stroking my ego, the fact that I was just hanging out with these two really pretty girls, drinking some amaretto, you know. And then, of course, the other question comes up as far as, you know, got anything to smoke? And I didn't, you know, and she goes, well, I know somebody, you know, but I might need a ride, you know. So I said, sure, you know. So after drinking amaretto, we went to this guy's house, and you know, we were talking to him, we were smoking. He turned us on to some weed, maybe had another beer or so, and we were just hanging out. I don't know, maybe it was close to midnight now, a little bit after midnight, and I was already feeling tipsy, and I knew it. I knew because it's so weird that I would leave this guy's house, and right before I got into my car, I said, "Hey, I'll be right back," because apparently, you know, I had to go to the bathroom to go take a leak, and I didn't want to go back into this guy's house to take a leak, so I just, you know, parked myself by some bushes over there, and I just, you know, and I was just taking a leak, and I was starting to wob back and forth, and say, "Wow." You know, wow, this is crazy, man. Oof. And I remember telling myself, I haven't forgotten this, but I remember telling myself, man, I shouldn't be driving. Yeah, I don't even know if I could drive. But let me be cool. You know, I got two girls sitting in my car right now we decided to go to a pizzeria. Because, of course, we had the munchies. And, yeah, sure, why not? You know, it was only another 5-minute ride. Had to get on Route 46, which, you know, is kind of a major highway for my little town. And I remember telling myself specifically that, saying, man, I should be driving. And so, anyway, I ignored myself. And I didn't listen to myself. You know, when you get those gut reactions, you know, and something's telling you something's not right here. Well, my whole inside of my body was trying to warn me as much as possible. Don't drive. Don't drive. And I did anyway, and I went on Route 46. I was going west, you know, and I must have been on there like, I don't know, no more than just a few minutes. And all I do remember was driving my car, had two girls in my front seat. It's crazy. Anyway, I had bucket seats in my car, and the passenger bucket seat was broken. And all my friends, when they used to get into it, they go, oh my God, this car's crazy, dude. You should get this fixed, you know, because you would literally have to put your feet forward, because every time I either give gas, you fly backwards. If I, you know, put on the brakes, you're gonna fly forward. You know, we just laughed about it. You know, why I never got that fixed. It just blows my mind where I was at 17 years old. So anyway, I had both girls in this bucket seat. One was sitting on the lap of the other one, just because, you know, we were buzzing and we just were flirting back and forth and smiling and turning up the radio and laughing. And all I remember was this girl screaming in my ear, watch out, you know, and I was like, what? And I do remember seeing some headlights, like, whoa, better turn this way. And, you know, when you're under the influence of alcohol and weed, your reactions are all delayed. And I remember turning left, maybe, and I ended up hitting oncoming traffic, 2 cars, and just got spun around and ran into a brick wall. And I came to for just a brief moment, and the girls were no longer on the side of my, you know, in their chair, and I came to this guy talking to me, say, everything's okay, you're okay, you're okay. I'm gonna put this bag over your head. I'm gonna put this over your head. It was a plastic bag, and the reason for that is because my door was up against this brick wall. I couldn't get out, or they couldn't get me out, and they didn't want to take me out through the passenger door or whatever, so they had to bring the tow trucks, move me away from the wall, and use this thing called the Jaws of Life, and take my door off. And get me out of my car. And I remember I came to, this guy telling me this, I thought I was okay, I'm fine, you know. And then I came to again. I'm in the emergency room and I'm feeling sick. Like I needed to throw up and didn't know where I was at. I was on a stretcher. I was looking at, one of those emergency room lights. And I was just getting sick and I was just saying, hey, I need some help, please. I'm going to throw up. And the nurse comes to me, she said, what? She was not having a good day. I wasn't having a good day. And I said, I'm feeling sick. I think I got to throw up. She goes, really? Really now? She goes, oh my goodness, And I don't know. The strangest thing happened. But she goes, well, here. So she literally just pretty much turned me on my side. I don't even know. I thought they had like a Philadelphia collar, a collar on me, and so forth. But I don't know what the deal is for back injuries or neck injuries back then. But she just threw me on my side pretty much. That's what it felt like. And there I was throwing up, And of course, when she brought me back over, of course, her words of wisdom were, "That's what you get for drinking and driving, young man." I was like, great, And then I passed out. I came to what I was told a couple days later, maybe the 18th or the 19th of September. I came to, and it scared the crap out of me because I was facing the floor, And the reason I was facing the floor in midair was because I was now on this bed that they call the striker frame. And it's pretty much 2 screws in the front, tongs, whatever they call them. And, they support, and 2 screws in the back. And it's pretty much like roasting a pig, So, 2 hours facing the floor and then 2 hours 90 degrees that way, or facing that wall and then facing the ceiling and then facing that way over there. Everything was in 2-hour increments. And so I woke up facing the floor, and I was like, what's going on? And my girlfriend Debbie was on the floor talking to me. She goes, hey, welcome back. And my brother was on the floor talking to me, and I didn't know what was going on. It took me a couple more days just to clear up my head. I had these nightmares of being in school in my underwears and just crazy hallucinations and pain and all sorts of craziness is happening. And that went on for about a month. I was in a hospital, just general hospital, like literally 5 minutes away from my house. And I was there for about a month, and I just wanted to go home. And I just kept on asking doctors, when am I going to be able to walk again? I can't move my legs. I can't move my arms. I was paralyzed, And nobody really wanted to talk to me. My family didn't know how to tell me. Debbie was just so supportive. She was there every day. Every day she was there, And so I ended up being transferred to a rehab facility called Kessler's Institute. You might have heard of it. Christopher Reeve did his rehab there in the 90s when he had his accident, and I was there in 1982. And I was there for about 7 months until about March of 1983. So I went in October of 1982. I got out in March of 1983. And I still remember, going to my house for the first time. So much has already changed in 7 months, I went home and we lived on a hill, and they made a driveway, on the left side of the yard, because we couldn't park on a hill. So they made a driveway where we could just pull into the side of the house. And they put this big lift in the side of my house, side of my porch. Thought it was the ugliest thing in the world. And that's the way I would get in and out of my house. So anyway, after, 8 months of rehab, and then almost another year of outpatient rehab, I was able to, move my arms. I don't know if I can show you that much, but my hands, continue to be paralyzed, both my hands. This, and sorry, I guess I should have taken a better video about that, but, and, so, yeah, I was able to move my arms, and I'm very grateful for that, shoulders, stuff like that, and they wanted me in a manual chair, but, man, I was moving so slow, it would literally, it would take me an hour just to get from the front door to the back door, get down the hallway. Um, there's so much stuff that I'm missing here, but I know I'm up to 20 minutes here. But to make a long story short, this injury, this disability, has taught me so much. It's taught me about entitlement. Sometimes when you become this injured and you need this much help, pretty much 24-hour care, with bowels and bladder care, you got to watch your skin. So it taught me about entitlement and how, you think that because you need all this care, you think you're just entitled to do whatever, and somebody who had a substance abuse issue from the get-go, throughout those 30 years, man, you would think that, the car accident would have been my learning thing, and it wasn't, it really wasn't. It didn't stop me. I kept abusing drugs and alcohol for a good 10, 15 years after that, even longer sometimes, because then I would stop for a couple years. I actually stopped for 18 years, and then I started up again, bad relationships, being taken advantage, me taking advantage of other people. I mean, I'm no innocent person here. I'm 55 years old today, I was 17 years old when I was introduced to this injury. And so it just didn't teach me about entitlement, but it also taught me about humility. It taught me about how to ask for help. It taught me how to be appreciative for everything. For just a beautiful day like today. Appreciative for the people that help me and work with me and just get me up in a chair on a daily basis. So I've had a lot to reflect on these past 38 years. And without giving you, of course, the level of my injury, it's going to be difficult the way you guys are going to do this exam without me being there, but I know you guys will figure it out, what level of injury I am. Because you guys are good, and I really look forward to working with more physical therapist students, more occupational therapist students, to nursing students. I do virtual speaking now because of COVID-19, but I've been doing a lot of public speaking. I've been an advocate for almost 38 years. I'm involved in adaptive sports. I'm involved in the community in advocating for equal rights. Today there's a big word going around now, because I was just on a webinar last night and speaking to a bunch of disability advocates, and that's what I love the most. It's just hanging out with my own peers. And if there's anything I can say about that is I didn't want to hang around with another person in a wheelchair until about 10 years after the fact that I became injured myself. I just wanted to be part of the able-bodied community. And but the point that I'm trying to make today, there's this word going around. It's called inclusion. And you guys are smart. I'm sure you know what the word means. But in the terms of equal rights, that we need to make a world that's inclusive to everyone, despite your color, religion, sex, any of that. We need to get to a world where we're all accepted, whether you're black or in a wheelchair, not in a wheelchair. Even in my own disability community, we discriminate. If you're not this, you're that. Well, he's spina bifida, or no, he's cognitive. No, he has a hearing impairment. We don't want to hang out with him, or how do we communicate with the guy? We discriminate within our own disability community. It's crazy. So there's this word going around, inclusion, and that's where I focus all my work right now. I really would like to get to a society where we just welcome everyone. And I realize that the politics in it, that, well, Hector, can't just let everybody into our country. Well, I think we can, especially when we've been letting them into our country for so long, Of course, I believe in safety, and of course, I believe in some sort of police, But whatever security thing that we put in place, it just can't be prejudice against anyone or anything. We need to be a little bit more open-minded now that we're going into the future, And so this is why I'm looking forward to continuing to talk to people that are getting into the medical field, Anyway, sorry Elizabeth, I couldn't do this in 20 minutes. No way, man. You're gonna have to give me more time. But I hope it gives you an idea. I did some other videos around the house, just telling you a little bit about the house. I mean, as I age with this injury, you know, I've come down with some respiratory stuff. You know, I got to keep watching my skin. My skin is just so delicate. You know, if I sit up too straight for too long, you know, I have a pressure ulcer. You know, so thank God I don't have anything right now. Well, butterfly, beautiful butterfly. You missed it. Anyway, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you to students for watching this video. Just trying to really get an understanding of this injury and of people with disabilities and how you're going to be working with them, you know. But if there's anything I could tell you guys, man, just look at them for a human being. Don't see their injury first. Don't just focus on the injury. Focus on the whole person. And better yet, focus on what he can do instead of what he cannot do. That would be the ideal thing. You know, I believe in positive psychology, and positive psychology tells us just that. You know, let's not just focus on what a person cannot do, which is important that we have to do that, but mostly put your energy into what he can do. So I'll leave you with that.